Hey, before you watch this, please keep in mind that I'm pretty impassioned throughout this. If you think I'm old man yelling at cloud, just watch until the end. I'll clarify some things. I just really have a lot of passion for this project. Just keep that in mind. Enjoy. Hello, this is Placate, and I'm going to be making the case that Classic Offensive is absolutely necessary for the longevity and growth of Counter-Strike. I hope that this starts a conversation and gets more people engaged, because currently the project is being ignored by Valve. It's not like they did anything wrong. 2 videos from Escalation here in the cards and in the comments section, basically explaining what Classic Offensive is and why it is being ignored by Valve. If you don't know what Classic Offensive is, it's basically just a mod for Counter-Strike Global Offensive that takes all the elements of all the Counter-Strike games of the past and meshes them all together. This mod is basically focusing on the community aspects of Counter-Strike. That's the main thing. And I have some gameplay here in the background from the official channel, the Classic Offensive channel. It looks like Counter-Strike if it were made in an alternate dimension where Valve cared about the community. I'm going to explain some things about that. Counter-Strike 2 came out and had all the markings of Valve only caring about the competitive aspect of Counter-Strike. Now, I think that that's fine if you like that kind of game, but some people don't. You know, they came out and said, you know, we fixed smokes, which is actually a cool change. They said that they basically are making the tick rate 64 standard for all servers, and that they came up with this thing called sub-tick. I'll explain what that is in a second. They also explained that they're launching like Premier mode, which is meant to compete with FACEIT. Basically, it's all the markings of Valve coming out and saying, hey, you know, we are going to compete with FACEIT, we are going to do better than FACEIT, and we're going to make it such that FACEIT doesn't need to exist. That's what they hyper-focused on with Counter-Strike 2, which is interesting, but you know, I don't think that it really panned out super well. Tick rate is basically where the server looks at what you're doing 64 or 128 or whatever the tick rate is times a second. And that basically makes it such that, you know, if the server has a tick rate of, let's say, 2000 for whatever reason, every single thing that you're doing, like every minute detail of like movement with your mouse and everything is being pulled like 2000 times a second. Completely unnecessary. 128 used to be the standard, and it does play better than 64. 64 tick was the standard for Valve servers, but people thought that wasn't enough, so they went to private servers and played at 128 tick. What sub-tick is basically where what you do between ticks is also counted, so that if you shoot someone in the head, even if it's between 2 different ticks, and someone shoots you, like let's say literally half a millisecond afterwards between ticks, so the shots look like they both come through at the same time, the shot that came beforehand will be shot beforehand. Theoretically, it's a really great system, but the issue with it is that if you are playing with really good ping and you're playing against someone with really bad ping, your game's going to feel like shit. Someone's going to walk around a corner and shoot you before you even see them. It's going to be stuff like that. And basically, Valve is like doing like minor tweaks to try to like adjust this over time and fix this over time, but people generally think that this still doesn't feel great. It feels great on LAN when everyone has 0 ping, but when there's major ping differentials, it doesn't feel great. So, you know, this isn't great for a game that's meant to be played by different people from different countries in a community sort of way. It's only really good if you're playing against people in your local area and you're playing on a competitive ladder. That's really the only situation in which this whole update actually benefits anyone. You know, they made it so that the tick rate is locked at 64 and sub-tick is still a thing. So, you know, even the private servers can't go and up the tick rate to 128, and even if they did, it probably wouldn't feel as good as 128 tick without all the sub-tick nonsense. Now, I'm not saying this to say that Valve did a bad job. I just think that they prioritized esports and playing people that are very close to you. They didn't prioritize communities of people from like different countries all the way across the world. Nah, they didn't do that. The other issue with Counter-Strike 2 is they didn't prioritize the community at all. They didn't care. They broke movement. They destroyed B-Hop and Surf servers. Allegedly, they fixed these issues lately, but it doesn't matter because the community server browser is still a mess. Every single time you open it, it minimizes your game, and because it takes forever to reopen Counter-Strike 2 for some reason as a full screen game. I remember Counter-Strike Go had this issue like 10 years ago, and then they fixed it, but I guess Counter-Strike 2 is in those beginning stages of any Counter-Strike game, but it just becomes hell to browse community servers. So anyway, my point is that everyone in the B-Hop and Surf communities just moved over to Source, I believe, like Counter-Strike Source, a game from like 15 years ago. It's insane. Anyway, the point is that Counter-Strike 2 was built with the competitive scene in mind. And you might say, okay, well, you know, that's what the direction they want to go. They're getting growth out of it. Who cares? This growth is going to slow. And then slowly over time, the player count will dwindle if this occurs. And I think that maybe that's when Valve will think, oh, maybe we should actually care about the community now. And then they'll actually, you know, make the game better. This is all speculation, but by that point, I think it'll be too late. By that point, I think people that want to play a community-centered game will have moved elsewhere. They want to push the armory chest, whatever you call it, basically the current loot box system, the current quote-unquote operation, which is just going to be perpetually there. They want to push that system and just make minor tweaks to the gameplay, it seems. There are a lot of players that don't care for this armory crate system. A lot of players that buy games regularly on Steam that give Valve money in other ways, not directly through Counter-Strike, but Counter-Strike might keep them on Steam because it's one of those games that you can only find on Steam. You know, there are a lot of players like me who don't even purchase loot boxes anymore. I've purchased like 7 loot boxes in my entire time playing Counter-Strike since 2014. I've opened 7 or 8 loot boxes, and that's it. Never again. I buy games on Steam. I like buying things that actually bring me joy, even though there's DRM and whatever. I make that devil's deal with Steam because fine, whatever, I get a game out of it that's easily accessible. You know, piracy is a service problem. My point is that there are a lot of other people like me who give Valve money through other means who don't care for Counter-Strike 2 because we want a community-centered game. We want a game in which we can just pop on and jump onto a server and just play with people and have fun, and not be sweating the entire time, because that's what Counter-Strike 2 is. I don't know if they brought back Unranked, but oh no, they didn't. But even when I was playing Unranked in Counter-Strike Global Offensive near the tail end of that game, it felt like I needed sweat even in Unranked. Like people would yell at me in Unranked. It's crazy. And it's not like I was doing particularly bad. I was like top fragging or like doing second from the top, whatever. But you know, I play like a fucking madman sometimes. Sometimes I get bored. I don't want to take the game seriously and I just go in and get kills and whatever. And these people are yelling at me in Unranked. So I haven't really felt the urge to play Counter-Strike 2 because I don't care for that environment. I liked Counter-Strike in 2014, 2015, when people would just have fun, when you would jump into a lobby and everyone was just fucking around trying to make each other laugh. It was a platform for people to have social interaction. But then on top of that, it was just a fun game. And then they realized there's an esports scene on this and they tried to make it into a fucking sport. I understand that esports people are pretty diehard, and there's like a core community of people that would stay with Counter-Strike 2 even if the gameplay stayed the same forever. I understand that that's the case. There's a core audience there, but I don't think that there's room for growth for that much longer. I think that people are going to get bored of Counter-Strike 2. People are going to move on. I think that within the next 2 or 3 years, if Valve literally changes nothing, people are going to get kind of bored, and they're going to realize, oh yeah, competitive gaming, I don't know about this. Or they'll find another competitive game. People are very flaky with esports. This isn't like baseball or basketball. Again, Overwatch lost fucking its entire esports scene very quickly, within a matter of years. Like MLB and NBA, these are things that have been going on for like 50 plus years. Esports aren't like that. So anyway, my point is that the esports thing, it stagnates and then dies at a certain point. A core player base stays, but that's just how it'll be. If Valve actually wants to grow the game long term, I think that they either need to care about the community aspect of their own game, which they won't, and they don't have the time for, or they should delegate, which is something Valve seems to not want to do these days. They should delegate the responsibility of having community-related stuff to the community. I understand that the community's fucked up in the past with the invasion update in TF2. I understand. That's understandable, fair, whatever. I understand the hesitation that Valve has. But Valve regularly curates skins from the community. Valve regularly curates community content and releases it. So there's really no reason as to why this game can't release on Steam. There's no reason. And it would just grow the community of Counter-Strike. And you might say, oh, it's gonna grow the community, it's gonna grow the Counter-Strike community, but at the same time, people won't conflate it with Counter-Strike? And my answer to that is that I don't think people are that dumb. I genuinely don't think people are that dumb. It's labeled as a mod, it's fine. But then it also is a mod of Counter-Strike. It's where the community of Counter-Strike can go and have fun. It's less of another Counter-Strike game. It's more so a mod or a platform for people to enjoy Counter-Strike, if that makes sense. The point is that Counter-Strike desperately needs a platform where people can just jump in and have fun. I can't do that with Counter-Strike 2. I really can't. I jump into a Counter-Strike 2 game and immediately, hostile right off the bat. 2014, 2015 Counter-Strike was so fucking funny. Like, it was just fun. Like, people didn't care. It wasn't like every other player was some fucking vape toker who could only give calls and get angry. It was like people were actually there to have fun and make connections and make friends. It was different. It was really different. It was really fun. I'm disparaging the new Counter-Strike community a decent bit, but I think it's out of passion because I genuinely do like Counter-Strike. I genuinely do like the games that have come so far. I like Counter-Strike 2 even. I just want some way to be able to jump in and have fun. That's it. I just want fun. We're currently living in a time where everything is being commodified to an insane level. No wonder teenagers, whenever I see them hanging out anywhere in public, it's in like a parking lot in the middle of a plaza. What else are people meant to do for fun these days? Every single space has been commodified to some degree. You need to spend money anywhere in order to do anything. There's no place where you can just hang out and just talk with people. At least in my area, that's what it's like. Either it's downtown and there's just a bunch of shops and that's it, and restaurants, or you're in the suburbs and every single road around you is a strode. A wide 4-lane road with nothing on either side, just bedroom communities, just houses. There's nothing to do outside. There's nothing to do on the internet. On the internet, what do you do? You go on YouTube and complain about Valve not releasing a mod for Counter-Strike. You can't have fun on YouTube anymore. You'll get your account suspended for being too weird or for being too edgy. You can't have fun on video games anymore. What are you meant to do? Go on a competitive video game like Marvel Rivals and just be angry at the fact that you're not doing well competitively, or just be yelled at for not taking the game extremely seriously? Well, go on Counter-Strike 2 and play the fucking ranked mode that doesn't even matter anymore and have people yell at you. I really don't know what you're meant to do for fun anymore. I don't know. And I thought that Classic Offensive would be the answer to that, but I don't know if Valve is going to release it, and I don't know if there's allowed to be any fun on the internet anymore, or in public or anywhere. Sorry, I'm going on a little tangent. But even the idea of a third place has been commodified. I went to this design thing recently for it was this thing for interior design and whatever. And there was this little booth that was popped up for this interior design competition for a university. And it was to do with building a third space. And the person running the competition was a fucking hotel. Do you really think that a hotel wants to create a quote-unquote third space? A space in which people can just go to hang out? No, they don't care about that. You know, if you're hanging out in the hotel for too long, someone's gonna come up and say, hey, do you have a room here? Get the fuck out. It's crazy that even the ideas that we're pushing to try to fix things are being commodified and ruined. And this isn't to say that making money is a bad thing. I'm just saying that sometimes you need to chillax and realize that not making money in a certain situation will make you money elsewhere long term. What I mean by that is that if Classic Offensive were to release, more people would be attached to the Counter-Strike property. More people would be willing to jump into Counter-Strike 2 every once in a while. There'd be a symbiotic relationship there. I personally wouldn't want to jump into a Counter-Strike 2 game after playing Classic Offensive, but I can see some people, you know, in the community just being like, hey, you know, You're really funny, whatever. We had some fun in Classic Offensive. Do you want to join a comp game with me on Counter-Strike 2? I can see that being a symbiotic relationship. Why can't Valve? You create a situation where you're not necessarily making a ton of money right off the bat, but you're creating a nice ecosystem where long term you retain more players and you make more money. I still think that Valve is not, they're not angels in selling you DRM ridden games. It's much better to support a company like GOG. But the reason as to why I don't sometimes is because Valve has built an ecosystem with a lot of their games that I regularly play. Back in the day when I played Counter-Strike Global Offensive a lot, I would purchase games on Steam mainly because that's the launcher that I use for Counter-Strike, and it just makes things easier. I can just, if I'm done with Counter-Strike, want to play something else, I just close out of Counter-Strike, play something else. It's the launcher that I played Gmod on, and a bunch of other like modifications to source related things. They had this like nice ecosystem. But nowadays, I'm seeing less and less value. I'm like, why am I buying things on Steam anymore? GOG Galaxy is out. I'm able to merge all my different accounts, have all my games in one launcher, and then just play games from there if I really wanted to. Why would I buy games on Steam anymore? If there's no ecosystem wherein I feel like things are easier because all the games I play are on Steam, then who cares? Why would I want to buy DRM-ridden games from a company that doesn't care about its community and from a company that is actively hostile towards its community at times? Why would I care? Why should I care? That's the answer that Valve needs to give me. And I think that part of that answer could be given if Classic Offensive is released. And that's not the only thing, though. There are a bunch of other projects that are still in limbo. It's not just Classic Offensive. If they want to focus on the hyper-competitive esports shit, like Deadlock and Counter-Strike 2, fine, go ahead. You've lost me as a customer. I'm not buying things on Steam until Classic Offensive is released. And even then, I'll question whether I should continue to buy stuff on Steam. And you're going to lose the support of a bunch of other customers. Someone is going to pass you up eventually. You can't hold the good graces of gamers forever. That's not how this works. Gamers are a vocal crowd. You can trick gamers for only a set amount of time. I think that it's slowly collapsing. I think that the new generation of gamers is not really seeing Valve as this altruistic little indie company. The new generation of gamers is seeing Valve for what they truly are, and they're just putting up with them right now. But for how long will they have to put up with Valve? We'll see. I was pretty angry in that video. Well, not angry, but, passionate. And I want to clarify some things that I said in that video. One is that I can't have fun online anymore. And that's not necessarily true. What I meant is that I can't have fun playing with random people in a video game anymore. It's a foreign thing these days to most people to just jump into a game and have fun with random people. No, the random person must be at your skill level and be trying their ass off at the video game. That's not always the rule. Like, I bet you that there's probably like a few people playing Rabbit and Steel, which, by the way, that's the OST that you're listening to right now, the Rabbit and Steel OST. The game soundtrack is fucking amazing. The game's amazing. Go pick it up. It's great. But yeah, I could probably jump into a game and find someone who's just willing to have fun. I bet you, though, that most people are probably just like efficiency maxing and just trying to play that game as quickly as possible and do everything as quickly as possible. That's what like people just do these days in a lot of games that give you that opportunity to efficiency max. Whereas if you just give someone a slightly competitive game like Counter-Strike, but you don't have any ranks and you don't have anything to work towards, what else is there to do but socialize? So, basically what I'm saying is that there are very few games out there that allow players to just socialize and don't give them some stupid long-term incentive to waste their life on. That's my issue with modern gaming, and that's what I'm unable to do with friends or with random people. I am still able to like surf the web with my friends and find random websites that are like filled with funny people, like fireandbrimstone.com. I think you have to go to Internet Archive for that one, though, and double list, stuff like that. I can have fun in that regard, but I can't have fun in an unproductive video game playing with random people or friends, that's not really doable these days. And that's what I think Classic Offensive can seek to solve. You might say, oh, well, you know, Team Fortress 2 Classic or Team Fortress 2 are options. And yeah, true. I wouldn't want to play Team Fortress 2 for a number of reasons, but Team Fortress 2 Classic, I haven't gotten into it yet. I will, but you know, part of the problem is the ease of accessibility with that game. Like, I have to go download it, and that's what's holding me back. I will one day play Team Fortress 2 Classic. It's just gonna take a little bit. Whereas if Classic Offensive were just on Steam, boom, I could just jump in and play some games. I mentioned GOG Galaxy, but like, fuck, I have not bought that much from them because it's not as convenient as just literally having all your stuff on Steam and not even needing to link your account to GOG Galaxy. But again, I will get into GOG Galaxy soon because I think it's the better option as opposed to buying games on Steam with DRM and whatever. And then one last thing I want to correct is the bit about, oh, I can't have fun in real life anymore. There's nowhere to go that isn't being commodified. So there's two layers to this. One, yes, I can't really go have fun in an establishment. If I'm gonna go have fun with friends, it's gonna be outside or it's gonna be at my house. It's not gonna be in an establishment, because if I go to any establishment, fuck, dude, you go to a board game cafe and there's an entry fee, and then on top of that they expect you to order like food or a coffee or something. It's like, what the fuck? There was a board game cafe that I used to go to occasionally, but they closed due to COVID. They were really good though. You just went in, paid $2 for like a water or something, and then you could play for like half an hour or whatever. You know, if it was packed, you would probably want to spend a little more money. You wouldn't want to be the dickhead holding a bottle of water, holding up a table, and they don't even have to like come to your table or deal with you or anything. Like there can literally be one or two employees there, so it's like not that expensive to run. But anyway, COVID killed that place. There's another thing I discovered recently in my area, and like just all over the place actually, card game places. I didn't know that these places exist. Basically, you could just go in, and if there's like a table free, you can just go in and play card games with people. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like they don't even expect you to spend money. You just walk in and you just play games with people. People treat these places as like meetup places to play Dungeons and Dragons. It's like, it's crazy. I don't know. But mind you, I did spend money at both of these card places that I went to. The first place I went to go buy some cards because I'm getting into Yu-Gi-Oh for my girlfriend because she's into it. And then the second card place that I went to with her. The first place I went on my own, and we ended up buying some shit. But yeah, anyway, they have like Warhammer figures. They have like, I don't know, they have like paint for Warhammer. Not into any of this, to be honest. Honestly, I just want to play Counter-Strike. That's where my brain's at and has been for a very long time. Anyway, my point is that there are places that you can go and not spend money. Yeah, sure. But like, they're very, very few and far between. And like, for every new place that comes up, there's probably like 5 being shut down every other year. The commodification of every little inch of space in our society is just, it's too much. It's way too much. And I think that the commodification of digital spaces is going a little too far as well. I'm not like a fucking socialist. I don't give a shit about any of that. It's just, you know, sometimes like you gotta give people fucking space to breathe, right? But anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye.